Off another winning day with the Power Five. Went 3-2 yesterday. I'm back on Saturday. Got 4 plays for you in college basketball, plus a look at the primetime game in the NBA, which is Knicks Warriors. As a reminder, as I'm breaking these games down, go ahead, smash that like button whenever you are in agreement, or feel free to comment down below if you've got an alternative take. Don't be afraid to do that. Going to start early here, 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS, as Wisconsin takes on Michigan State. Sparty out to a 3.5 point favorite at DraftKings in the first of today's two Big Ten semifinals in Indianapolis. Sparty open -1.5. Line move, I guess, is not all that surprising because Michigan State has now won and covered its last 8 games. Had little trouble with Oregon yesterday. Big story for me with Tom Izzo's team is that they continue to benefit from their opponents shooting very poorly from 3 point range. Yesterday, Oregon went just 4 of 19, which means Sparty is now holding conference opponents to 26.5% from beyond the arc this season. Can they keep doing that? Well, last time they faced Wisconsin, the Badgers shot just 5 of 32 from 3. But you look at yesterday, Wisconsin shot 59.4% from 3. All I can tell you, Wisconsin's 3 point shooting is going to determine the outcome of this game here on Saturday. I would lean towards taking the points as my power ratings were more in line with the opening number and now show value on the Badgers at the current price. Up next, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, Tulane versus Memphis. This is the first of two semifinals in the American. Money coming in on the dog. That, of course, being Tulane, who is now down to plus 8.5. Interestingly enough, the Green Wave closed as 3.5 point underdogs yesterday against FAU, despite having a rest advantage. FAU was playing for the second time in 2 days. Tulane was off a bye. Green Wave obviously won 83-76 as FAU shot very poorly from 3, 9 of 33 to be exact. Tulane, meanwhile, shot a much higher percentage at a much lower volume, 6 of 13 from 3 point land. They also benefited from more made free throws than FAU had attempts. I think this is the end of the road for the Green Wave, though, today against a Memphis team that I still don't believe is as good as its number 16 rating in the AP poll. However, the Tigers clearly remain the class of the AAC. They won at Tulane earlier this year by 12. Yesterday's close call against Wichita State should have Penny Hardaway's team motivated here. I'd lay the 8.5. 6 p.m. Eastern, Big 12 tournament final between Arizona and Houston. Houston's a 6.5, 7 point favorite, depending on where you're looking. I kind of think that's too many points. You have to think win or lose here. Houston is a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament regardless. They've lost just one Big 12 game all season. It was in overtime to Texas Tech, who Arizona just beat on Friday. In fact, 3 of Houston's 4 losses this season have come in overtime. The only time they were beaten in regulation was all the way back on November 9th against Auburn. That all being said, Arizona is certainly no slouch. I would have this number closer to 5. You look back to the lone regular season meeting between Houston and Arizona. It ended up being a 4 point game, 62-58 in Houston's favor. Arizona led by 5 at half. Now, I understand it was in Tucson, but on a neutral floor, I think Caleb Love and the Wildcats can again stay within a couple possessions. Let's go late. 9:30 Eastern is the SWAC tournament final. Going to keep this one short and sweet because it's simply a numbers play for me. I would take the plus 3.5 with Alabama State against Jackson State. I have these teams power rated pretty evenly, so taking the points just seems like the logical move here. Now, it is the third consecutive day Alabama State's playing while Jackson State had a day off on Thursday. However, you look through the numbers, I'm struggling to see how Jackson State gets much separation in this winner take all scenario. I'm going to grab the points with Alabama State. Now, if you're looking for my top college basketball play for Saturday, head on over to wt.buzz/BP. Note, it is an afternoon game, so limited time remaining. While I had to settle for a 2-2 split overall on Friday, 2 wins, 2 losses, note, still on a pretty amazing 40-19-2 all sports run. That includes a perfect 7-0 so far in March with college hoops plays rated 4% or higher. I cashed George Mason -2.5 as a 4% release yesterday. Easy win there. Today's play is a 4% best bet as well. WT.buzz/BP. That is where you'll also find that special offer still going on. Mark Zino and I, the Morning Wager Duo, offering up the rest of our college basketball season packages for just $198. What do you get for $198? Every single play Mark and I release in college basketball from right now through the national championship game. Mark and I, number 1 and number 2, respectively, in college hoops over the last 30 days at WagerTalk. Going to close out with the NBA. Knicks Warriors, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. As many of you probably already know, the Knicks generally suck as underdogs. 3-8 ATS in that role this season, with the average loss coming by a margin of 8.6 points per game. However, uh, I kind of think this is too many points that they're getting. I know there's no Jalen Brunson for the time being. He's out with a sprained ankle. However, you look at the Knicks the last two games, all five starters have scored in double figures. They've won them both. I get Golden State's won six straight. They're 13-2 straight up since acquiring Jimmy Butler. But again, I think it's too many points for the Warriors to be laying. This number's up to 7. I still have New York Power rated as the better team. Here's your recap of the Power Five for Saturday. Early, we like Wisconsin plus 3.5 against Michigan State. I would lay the 8.5 with Memphis against Tulane. I would take the points with Houston, as many as you can get, 7, 6.5. Pardon me, with Arizona, 6.5 or 7 against Houston. So that's Arizona. I like in plus the points in the Big 12 tournament final. I also would take the points in the SWAC tournament final. Alabama State getting 3.5 against Jackson State, and then in the NBA, I'll take the points there too. Knicks getting 7 at the Warriors. A reminder, comment down below with your thoughts on any of those games. Let us know what you'll be betting on Saturday as well. Always enjoy reading that. And don't forget, tomorrow, Mark Zinno and I are hosting WagerTalk Selection Sunday Special, 6:15 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you click subscribe. That way you get alerted to when that program begins. Instant reaction to the brackets when they are released with a betting perspective, of course. We will be joined by the likes of Adam Trigger, Steve Merrill, and Rob Vino. That will do it for me today. Hope you enjoyed this edition of the Power 5. Smash that like button if you did. Until next time, let's cash some tickets.